Hello, welcome back to Art of Pop Culture, and today we're going to be going over a person that I personally have just pretty recent, I guess a couple of years is pretty recent, discovered. He's been doing stuff, this group has been doing stuff for a while, since 2014, 2013, but I just recently got to him like maybe a couple of years, like last year. So we're gonna get into this. This group is called Remi. Remi is an Australian rap duo. They're consisted of Remi and Sensible J. So I always kind of so Spotify kind of been picking pieces and pieces of their music and put it onto like my playlists and my radios and stuff like that. And and every time they've come up with something, I always end up liking it. So I don't really know exactly what took me the moment to kind of get into it, but I just broke down and was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit back and listen to all of it and just kind of get into it. And so I did, and I really, really like it. And they have released 2 albums so far with a kind of an EP, with a partnership with an EP recently in 2018. So a little background with them is that they're both rap. Sensible J is a producer who makes the beats and everything, while Remi is the rapper that raps through it. And they're have a lot of things like they're a fast up and coming group, or they have been. Their 2014 album Raw and Infinity won the Australian Music Prize, which is a big huge deal because it's the first time that a hip hop group have won that prize, and it's a big huge deal. So in the first album, I love it. So we're gonna go through the album, but the first album, Raw and Infinity, is I really like. I feel like the whole thing that he starts off immediately pretty hard. Like he goes through a lot of racial talk about stuff like that, which is really, really interesting, really, really cool. And he just, I don't know, his flow is just it's very hard to compete with, the first album starts you off with pretty hard, raw, sounding, which is probably what it's called, Raw and Infinity, but raw topic, raw rhymes, raw everything. Everything just sounds so raw and so great, and and it just comes together. And on top of, so one of the ones that I like that stood out from this album was Ode to Ignorance, and I felt like this song was a very direct kind of look at how Australia kind of looks at racism, how they deal with it, which is not really, the way that he sees it is just we talk about it, but we don't do anything about it. There's still a lot of shit that's going on, which is very similar to America. Dope with No Seeds, that's that shit, or 2 ones I really, really liked. I feel like That's That Shit kind of gave you a little interlude, but I love the sound of it. Dope with No Seeds is another one I really like. But the bigger ones I really thought was really cool, that I didn't really think he would do, was that he did a whole thing on Raw Xfinity and Infinity. I keep on saying X because it's technically Raw X Infinity. So the thing that he does is that he goes from the song Nigerian Sunrise to Melbourne Sunset and No Enemy. So when you go through those two different places, it's almost a full song, because Nigerian Sunrise actually starts off and you go into Melbourne Sunset, and then you go into No Enemy, and Melbourne Sunset and Nigerian Sunrise are exactly the same beat, with a little additional with the Melbourne one. But then you go into No Enemy, it kind of feels like there's that sound stops, that sound stops, and then they kind of bring in a more different, it's very African tribal sound, and it kind of moves on, and it gets and it still uses that beat through the sunrise and sunset, but then in No Enemy it drops the complete beat, and you go into more of a tribal sound, which I thought was super cool. It kind of just the production is just fucking amazing. And then finally Sangria, which I really liked. It was just this one that immediately. This was the one I got from the radio. I really liked, and it was immediately something I liked. And I love the way he talks. I love the way that it reminds me a lot of Today Was a Good Day. Cause he kind of narrates what he's doing, and it just sounds like that type of sound, you know. With that said, so that album was really good. It came out in 2014. It was really good sound, and then a lot of shit happened with him in his life. So he broke up with his long-term girlfriend right after it, and then he went to this huge depression, and a lot of things kind of came out to him, which is I can kind of relate. But it was one of those things where it was a shit ton of a lot of, because that box of happiness broke, a lot of other ones broke too, I felt like. And so all the suppressed racism or racist abuse issues that came through his mind kind of came through, and the drug abuse and alcohol abuse was coming through, and he was just going down a hole, a deeper and deeper hole as it goes, and he didn't have anything else to write about as he was making this second album. So all he knew was the suppression, this deep dark feeling that he had. So which I thought was the coolest thing, is that he used that and applied it to the album, the whole album, which is this album came out in 2016, which is Divas and Demons. Oh my god, it's a ride. It's one of those things that's just you gotta sit down and listen to it and just kind of take it all in. And then when you're done, you're just silence, you kind of reflect with it. Because he goes so deep and raw into it, and I love it. I love every bit of it. I love how authentic it sounds. Everything is it sounds like it's coming deep from how he feels about everything. Some of the ones I really like for example, he's talked about that one of the songs For Good, which is a really good popular one, he was talking about being unfaithful and how he never do it again, so that, something that's oh, I didn't know that was part of the relationship, that it was just unfaithful. And then another one, and then you had the Lost and Too Much and Moving On was about the relationship between him and his long-term girlfriend, which is interesting. Too Much was a deep one that I kind of took in. I was oof, because it was just he basically was talking about how he was doing a lot of drugs, and to the point where it was just too much for him. He was even saying it was just this is a lot. This is a lot that I'm doing right now, and to the point that just I am just drowning in all these type of drug use that I'm doing, and it's obviously too much for me. And then then you have, which goes into this the drug abuse and everything that he would do. It's just contact high and substance therapy, and those two were just intense. It went into that kind of is describing exactly how he feels about it, what was going on, what his thoughts were, the irrational thoughts, the valid thoughts, all this stuff that came through in his mind. He just laid it down on paper, and it was so great. Another one that was really big that I personally liked was Lost Sleep, Young and Free, and Outsiders, which is all very race-based songs about the society of racism that goes on, and it's very interesting. He hits everything on a nail. He talks about how just the loss of sleep is just me trying to get this word out that there's still a lot of shit out there. There's very racism out there that we just pretend that we think it's subsided, but it's still out there, And I feel, and then finally the end of it, you go through 11 songs of just deep stuff, and then he kind of backs off a little bit and kind of gives you more of an interlude, and then finally gives you a closer. It felt like a closer to me. It felt like a optimistic ending. And there's something more coming for me now that I have all this out. I feel a little more ready for the world, kind of thing. I'm ready to get out. I'm ready to recover and get better, which is 365, Purple Haze for the Ether. And just it just felt so great. And actually it's interesting because they used Purple Haze seems to be it seems to be giving that drug abuse to a more moderate sign. It's this is more for, I'm doing this, but this is more for a beginning, of me, they're using modernized, like bringing down a lot of the stuff that's going on, and I really liked it. One of the things that I kind of that kind of not stood out to me too, that in the recovery was Move On. I felt like Move On was more of a recovery than a relationship part, because it was still a relationship and also kind of like optimism moving on. Was just like, because it pretty much was going on that he was doing a show in Europe, and pretty much his ex-girlfriend tried to hit him up and trying to get tickets to his show with her girls, and then maybe kind of hook up for sex in the end. But we find out that she has a boyfriend this whole time now, but she still wants to, like, she's still tickling with the idea of doing something with him, and he kind of backs off saying, like, this is not a good idea, like, we shouldn't probably do this, this is not a good idea for us to do this at all, I'm only here for a day anyway, so I'm gonna go. And even if it was here for even more than a day, this is not, I don't want this. You don't want this, I wouldn't want this, we shouldn't do this. Like, this is not a good idea to hook up with each other or get together, or even be around each other where everything's okay. And that's the one I felt like, where is it? I felt like there was another song on here too that was just like, it just goes, he has to, it's just, he goes into the part where he's like, oh, what went wrong? What went wrong in our relationship? I hope we can make it better. But then, was it good? And then he just goes through this whole thing about the relationship. And then the end of it is just like, we're not good though. Like, even after all of this is going, like, we may think this is going to be okay in the end of it, or not. We're not going to be okay after this. We're not going to be friends or associated with each other, kind of thing. And it's kind of interesting that you don't really hear that in a lot of music, other than unless it's like extremely aggressive. But it's just like, I felt like his was very like introspective more than it was like a jab at his girlfriend, you know? And I felt like that kind of made a lot of sense. And I love his music videos. I love his sound. I think that if anybody is into pretty much like, if you like Janelle Monáe, if you like her kind of sound, how she kind of talks about a lot of issues that are going on in the world, she's a little more metaphoric, but like, if you're looking for that type of sound and cut like that, you can definitely get into him. Get into them, because Sensible J is also part of it. He also is Remi, and you can just kind of get into them. I think they would be so great. I think that they're so cool. They're one of the biggest like groups going on right now in Australia, and it's so cool, and I can't wait. I hope they actually do more touring over here, actually, in America, because I feel like it'd be kind of cool to kind of see what they can do, how the audience take them in this, because I think the audience will love them, you know. So that's it. So that's my ode to Remi. I really love them. I'm really excited to see what else they're gonna do. Oh, actually, another thing. They actually released a duo EP kind of thing. Like, it's like them with another rapper, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm gonna get into soon. Raza Bisa. And so which is called Black Hole Sun, which came out in 2018, and the EP is pretty good so far. It's much more gathered with other people too, but you still get his sound, you still get a different kind of sound too, and I think that's another one to listen to too. So that's it. So let me know what you think. Have you heard of Remi? Do you like Remi? What's some of your favorite songs from him? From them? And have you actually seen? I actually would love to know if you guys actually have seen them live, and what you think about seeing them live, because I would love to know. I don't have the chance to see them live yet. Hopefully there's an American tour coming up. But tell me your experience with them. Did you like them? Did you really like pieces of them and everything? And I hope everybody's having a great weekday. I know it's starting as a Monday, you know. But I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.